Oh, hi there. I'm making this video on my iPhone because my computer went crazy on me. Uh, I have a simple web camera. I prefer using that, but the program shut down when I was a minute into it, and it it wouldn't let me restart it. It said cannot connect to RPC. External drive is not cooperating, something along those lines. And all these pop-ups started showing up everywhere. I hadn't done anything out of my usual routine, so I don't know why that would happen. I can't think of a single reason at all why that would happen. Anyway, I hadn't had much problem with my computer before, and it's strange that this would happen now. Again, I can't think of a single reason why that would be. Anyway, I've disabled monetization on my YouTube channel. I don't need your petty cash, your petty change. That's chump change. I'm not a YouTube partner anymore. I strive to be something better than a YouTube partner. I want to be part of the propaganda unit. I think that my content is good enough to be mainstream, and I'm willing to accept advice from others and cooperate in a beneficial way to everyone. I'm not going to bend on some of the things I feel strongly about, but I am open to negotiation on what I will and will not talk about. I know how to keep my mouth shut if need be. So, that in mind, I've disabled monetization because it's a pointless waste of time for me. Um, so, any and all viewers I have, you can all go to hell. I'll be there shortly. Anyway, I wanted to say that I don't entirely like the situation that's going on YouTube because there is such thing as censorship, and freedom of speech is it's a concept, and the thing is the more popular you get, the more you know about the world, depending on what your occupation is, depending on what sector of the government, the country you work for, you know certain things about life, but you're not allowed to divulge such information. As I've said in previous videos, I am not constrained by that responsibility. I can say whatever I want because I'm not in any any inner circles. I have the right to do what I want, almost. I mean, within reason, of course. I'm just illustrating some opinions of mine. Well, not really illustrating, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about some opinions of mine on how I perceive the world to work. And the thing is, what people say and what they mean can be it it's a fine line, but it's also a blurred line. You don't know exactly what they mean. A lot of people don't believe we live in a society of propaganda. I didn't believe that when I was growing up, but it's true. It's everywhere. Multimedia, um, the news on the television, it's all geared towards molding the mind into submission, into believing what the higher powers want you to think. They want you to be in a mindless automaton doing his job and thinking of nothing more, or what little more they do think of is dumbed down and so abstract from the truth that it's almost like you don't know anything at all. Don't know anything about politics, don't know anything about how the world works, don't know how money works. And they like to keep people in the dark, they like to keep them ignorant. Um, I got a bit of a cold, so you're going to have to bear with me. A bit of a rough cough. I'm working on that. I think a leave will help. I don't know, though. Maybe, maybe not. Better to take something than nothing, I guess. Um, yeah, so you never really know who's watching. And depending on your opinions, they may have negative thoughts about you. I know I've been the butt of some people's jokes because they prefer to think of me as an ignorant hick. I must admit I'm not dressed to convince them that I'm not. But this is my house coat, so you can go to hell. I'm allowed to wear what I want. I don't wear this outside very much unless I'm doing yard work, so if that makes me a redneck, then I guess I am. But I may be a redneck, but I live in a nice house with a legal rental suite, which isn't being used, but that's not the point, with a washer, dryer, and a dishwasher, and brand new fridge and oven, and microwave. And where are you living? Probably in a dirty, disgusting basement suite. So, you want to call me a redneck? You want to start hurling the insults? Right back at you. And I don't need YouTube's stinking chump change. The tears of my viewers are good enough for me. Because I'm going to tell things the way it is. Now, this is kind of going a little bit off topic of what I've been saying for the last 6.5 minutes, but it has to do with propaganda and the way how the world works. So, in a way, it's not off topic. But I'm going to discuss what my experiences on life have been. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I have been in the mental health system. I know a little bit about it. I haven't actually been hospitalized that much. I've been in the mental health system for about 6 years. My doctors hardly say anything to me at all, anything noteworthy. They've been watching me the entire 6 years, and they thought I was stupid. But what they didn't know was I was watching them. And they didn't have to say or do much for me to read them like a book. I saw their lies, and I saw their deception, and I saw their dirty, underhanded tricks. Now, granted, I've hardly been in a hospital. Like, I've been in there, in the total of the 6 years, probably about 5, 6 weeks, tops. I've hardly been in there, probably 5 weeks. It was not a fun experience, I'll tell you that much. It's really, they demoralize you, first of all. They make you wear ridiculous pajamas, and you're under constant supervision. You're treated like you're the worst offender in the world, even though you may have or may not have done anything of significant harm to anyone, or annoyance to anyone, or whatever. But they like to treat you like your enemy number one. So that's the first thing. Second thing is it's unavoidable. You're taking medication, and you're taking it for a long time. 6 years I've taken it. 6 damn years. And I'm not an aggressive man. I'm not violent. I don't think violent thoughts. I watch multimedia like everybody else does. I watch what's on the television, but I don't act out on any negative thoughts or situations I might be in. I understandably I am frustrated at times because of how abusive the mental health system has been towards me. Unfairly so, I might add. And that's, it's something to say. Like, it's not just the sore throat I've had for 3 years, but I've had to endure other pain as well in my life, which doesn't have anything to do with mental health, but I'm saying I'm the kind of guy who's had to deal with pain. When I was a little kid, I fell off the washer and dryer, or dryer, or whatever, I don't even remember. But this sort of stuff stays in your subconscious, so it's important. But my bottom teeth went right through the bottom of my lip. Now, if that happened to me today, I know that would fucking hurt. But I don't remember it. It's in my subconscious somewhere, I guess, but That would have hurt a lot. There's a scar there that'll never go away. But anyway, so that's just me saying I know a little bit about pain. Sore throat for 3 years. I know a little bit about paranoia. The doctors purposely not telling you what's going on with your throat because the truth of the matter is it's superficial. They like to say, oh, it's acid, it's alcohol. No, those things don't help, but the real reason is it's the Clopixel I'm taking. It was the Tecta I was taking before as well, which I've stopped taking. Tecta's an antacid. I described that in other videos. I believed it was the right thing, and my doctor deceived me. Unwise move on her part. Very unwise. I'm a very reasonable individual, but in the future, things are going to be different. I'm not going to have to bend over backwards for doctors or do anything for them. And because they deemed me unfit for mainstream society to fit in like everybody else, one good turn deserves another. I will make them the outcasts. They will be the ones who will be on the outside trying to look in, and they will see nothing. Nothing of any credible source anyway. No. As I said, I am a very reasonable individual, but there's just so much bullshit I'm not going to put up with. And I happen to know things. I know a little bit about how the world works. When others zig, I zag. So, there are things they think and know about the world that I don't know, but there are things I think and I know about the world that they don't. As I described on How to Get Back at Big Pharma video, maybe they didn't see that coming, but it was a little thread loose on their coat, and I simply came along and tugged at it, and their whole coat fell apart. Yeah, getting back to the propaganda side of things. The mental health hospital is an unpleasant place. They're abusive there. It's institutionalized racism. You think racism don't exist in our society? It does. Not for us common folk, because it's shut down right away. They use the mechanism of control. Oh, racism is wrong. You can't be racist, blah, 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 blah. And they shut up any conversation that you try to have with it. The thing is, they think if that's going to stop me from thinking the whites are superior. No, it isn't. If anything, it's just going to make me more determined to prove my point. And because we live in a multicultural society, there are a lot of people who are anti-white. And they get away with it too. And the government likes to pretend that doesn't happen. But we can all see that it does. And it wouldn't be so bad if it were just here. But there are other places like, I don't know, Hong Kong, for example, where if you're in the mental health system over there and you're white, they particularly enjoy testing new treatment plans on white people, most of the time causing them great deals of pain. Particularly if you happen to be pro-American, pro-white, or whatever. Maybe you're just vacationing there. Maybe you just were born there, unfortunate soul. I would not have wanted to be born in Hong Kong. I know a little annoying, obnoxious kid at work who was born there. He's all right, but yeah, in a way, his personality's been shaped by where he grew up from, which is okay, I guess, but I wouldn't want that on me. Anyway, part of the reason why in Hong Kong the mental health system is particularly harsh to white people is because for the 100 or so years that the British were there, they were abusive themselves because they were racist. They were abusive to the Hong Kongers. They were there to make money. They were there to learn about their secrets and steal their gold and their treasure and whatnot. The thing is, during the 100 years that the English were there, they didn't make much of an attempt to learn the subtleties of the Chinese languages. That's not what they were there for. So there's a lot of things about their culture that they just didn't understand. And they probably were abusive during those 100 years. Now, the Chinese that are there, they want revenge. They want to turn Vancouver into Hongcouver. And our government is letting them do that. But the government is small. They're a small bunch of people, and their power will shrink given the power of persuasion over the masses. Which I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I happen to possess. I'm not describing everything I know in my videos, because some secrets I'll keep to myself for now. But I assure you, Vancouver will not become Hongcouver. I'm not the only white guy who's going to say that, but you're going to listen to what I have to say. So, anyway, part of the reason why Hong Kong mental health system is so harsh to whites is not only because of the historical abuse of white people to the Hong Kong people, but also they're next door neighbors to mainland China. Biggest single army in the world. They're going to put the lean on them as well. As a matter of fact, it's like the English never really left Hong Kong because the Hong Kongers just turned around and went, "Oh, you're not going anywhere." And it's just this constant badgering and pestering and controlling the social circle of the white people that live there, so that they eventually give in to the whim of the Chinese people. It's a sad fact, but I am openly going to discourage people from going there. Now that will piss off the business community, because the Canada Line, this big expensive train that they built so that the Asians can go to the airport faster, is just a sign that they've invested money into regular relations with the Hong Kong people, regular business relationships. And part of that is sending their diplomats, business leaders, and not only that, but their children as well, to Hong Kong to oversee how businesses are ran, logistics, you name it, all this sort of business stuff that I don't know anything about. But it's also where some white people go to try to make a career in whatever, in media, on the television, in video games, in business, wherever. And the thing is, for me to openly say, don't go there, is going to make them look bad. They're going to look like they failed. Now, as it is, we do live in a society that doesn't openly encourage going there. But in my opinion, it doesn't discourage it enough. It doesn't say, don't go there, because it's right next door to the biggest military in the world that doesn't happen to like us very much because they're losing. They don't have the natural resources. It's hot as hell over there. It's a dump. And a whole pile of other reasons. And it doesn't matter if you're a nice guy and you go over there. The fact is, if you happen to be the only white guy there, they're going to take all their rage and frustration out on you. So we can't just pull the plug on Hong Kong, on Asia, and leave them in the dark again like we did centuries ago. Leave them isolated from the world. Which is what they deserve, but we can't do that. And also, China as a nation is not stupid, it's just grotesque, that's all. Very, very ugly. I learned much of their tactics through a caricature video game called StarCraft. Quite literally, they are the Zerg. Uh, During my time, I saw myself as a protest. I didn't speak much, but I saw everything, and I made moves accordingly, and I think I made the right moves. And the Terrans, or the humans, didn't understand my logic behind things. I didn't explain it to them. And now we're at a point where it's StarCraft 2, and we're beginning to understand each other. Why I did certain things, why I was the way I was. And it was all undocumented. It's all in my dossier at high school. Trust me, I'm not lying. It's all documented by people who are not me, people who are not on my side, and people who only told the truth because it was their job to. I'm sure if they could have lied about me or exaggerated about what I have and haven't done, they would have. So, yeah, I want to become a member of the propaganda unit because I don't think the good word of having the worldly wisdom to know that being a nice guy, being a nice person, does not ensure your safety. It really, really doesn't. You have to be wise, you have to be cunning, and you have to make intelligent moves. Or else, there are many ways you can get screwed over. Many, 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 many ways. You could be put in a social situation where the only woman around is ugly. You don't want that. You could be left in a social situation where no one talks to you, where you're an automaton doing his job, and he thinks nothing more of it. That is hell. You could be beaten up every single day, and the only people who hear you cry are people who don't care. You could be thrown in a dungeon and forgotten about, disappear. Now, these things don't just happen willy-nilly to people, but never one quite knows. Because I'm willing to blow the lid off that whole what's wrong with Hong Kong, what's wrong with going to Asia thing. A lot of people ain't gonna agree with me. They're not gonna like what I got to say. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. Because I'm damned if I don't, and I'm damned if I do, so may as well make the most of it. I'm never being dragged to hell. I'm not going to Asia. And I am not going to be gently persuaded into going by an Asian chick, because that's how they'll start. They'll go, yeah, we'll create a social circle around him where he goes with an Asian chick, and then she'll sort of melt him into thinking a certain way. I've lived on my own too long, too set in my ways. I mean, I'm flexible and all that, but all in all, I'm not really going to change my opinions on things, and I don't see them being able to say anything to me that's going to change my mind on anything. A lot of people like to think that I'm just a pickle mushhead, a redneck, and I don't know what I'm talking about, don't know what I want, and don't know how I feel about things. But that isn't true. That just means they haven't been listening to me. They don't know me. Oh, excuse me, I need a drink. So, to sum it up, being a member of the propaganda unit and properly portraying a version of history, a version of current events that is more accurate to our living situation and not PC, not to accommodate the different diverse cultures we have in our society, but to lay down the law and tell exactly how it is. That is my intention. I respect Jason Unruh for what he does, and he's made a lot of interesting videos, I suppose. He's a very creative man, very intelligent, very caring. But I don't agree with him on a lot of things. Not going to win me many friends, especially in his social circles, but I'm a force to be reckoned with, and I've been ignored for the entire 6 years he's been up. But no more. Anyway, you'll be seeing more of me in the future. Good day.